Hey everybody, and welcome to a new Wrote for a Q video. And in this video I'm going to show you what I've been doing in terms of practice for lineup. Long-time viewers will remember that I used to do a regular monthly lineup benchmarking test where I do 10 lineups, 10 traditional lineups, and see what my best break was and what my average break was over those 10 lineups. Now I kind of stopped doing that because it felt a bit too much like an exam, and I was sort of getting anxious, I suppose, about doing it, and just had to keep putting it off and putting it off until eventually it was after the month has passed, basically. So I decided to stop doing that. In my last coaching session with Colin Matty, we talked about lineups and benefits and limitations of lineups and what they're useful for and what they're not useful for. And Colin was saying that they're a useful tool, but they're not the be all and end all of practice. They can be a useful benchmarking tool like I was using for, but they also can be a useful warm-up tool because you tend to focus on straight pots and less worrying about position, especially in my point of view where I'm basically doing 10 lineups, playing until I miss and then starting again, in which case I'm not getting to the point where I need to play difficult positional shots. So he suggested a sort of warm-up routine using a lineup where I basically play through the lineup and try and get as high a break as possible, and also try and do it in as few misses as possible. So that's what I've been doing over the past, I don't know how many months I've been since I last saw Colin. I think it was October when I last saw Colin. Obviously, for those of you who saw the last video, you'll know that for obvious reasons my practice hasn't been huge at the moment. It has increased in the last sort of 2 months or so, so it has improved quite a lot. But what I'm going to do in this video is show you my initial sort of go in my session with Colin, and then show you over the past few months where I feel like I've, basically show you where I've kind of beaten those expectations. Because another thing I've been doing is tracking the results. I'm going to do a separate video on a new spreadsheet I built where I sort of track my practice results, my practice diary, because I don't always film my practice. That's another thing I've changed. I don't always film my practice. So sometimes I don't have footage of when I've beaten it, but so let's have a look at that first session with Colin, which was filmed in October 2024 at his place.
Would you put your feet? He said, well, I put them there. And Michael basically went, well, are you comfortable? He went, yeah.
I'll put my headphones on for this so I can hear what the coach is saying,
I went there expecting
and I can react to that.
We need to have a huge
The other thing I should say is while I've been
because he says there's things
out,
you're doing and you'll
I've learned a new
really, it's just that.
video editing software, so I'm still getting used to how to do scores and stuff like that. So this was an early video I did with the video editing software, so the scores might be a bit iffy, but I think they do sort themselves out.
That's one that I would do.
But basically the score is going to show my best break of this session, and then how many misses, and then the number in the brackets is my best break ever. So as we show later sessions, it will show the best break I've had in previous sessions.
A lot more than I would if I just scattered them about and said, any ball and all the rest of it. We'll play it though right the way down to the end. So even if your highest break is 12, if the pink and black are still on the table.
The other thing I should say is I think Colin set this lineup up slightly differently than what I do. So as we go into the next attempts, you'll see that the balls are slightly differently, but they're pretty much the same. I think I have 2 balls above the blue and less between pink and blue, basically. So please remember, this is obviously a warm-up. That was the first shot I played of the day on this table. So just don't judge me too harshly in this session. And what Colin does is he tends to take photos and video of things that then we talk about through the attempt. Screwed back a little bit too much though.
Did you feel it? Because you brought it back quite slowly and then sort of jabbed through it. So what you're trying to do, mate?
Yeah, trying to do that with power shots.
And then bring the hand to the chest. Try not to hit the ball.
So So the rules of this are that if I miss a red, the red gets removed from the table. If I miss a colour, the colour gets put back on its spot. Now, again, as we go through other attempts, you'll see that I actually forget these rules occasionally and play different rules, but generally that's what I'm going for. Yeah, this is not my finest attempt, basically. I've got a bit too much on that again. Not too bad there. A bit lower on this red above the black. At least I've strung 2 pots together. But that was utterly awful. Now he puts the red, I believe, yeah, he puts the red back that I wasn't trying to pot, and then pockets the one I was trying to pot. And then, oh yeah, and the other rule is that if I miss, I can have ball in hand if I want. Again, that rule comes and goes in other sessions, but generally, if I miss, I can have ball in hand. Still getting too much screw.
Get used to the pace of the table.
Yeah.
I mean, that would on my table I was when I was using that, I finished like probably about there.
If there's any consolation, mate, I do this sort of thing with everybody for this exact reason.
Yeah.
If you're not used to a quick table, it will catch out.
So, going to try and top spin this around the angles for a red into the middle.
Good job.
Could have done with a little bit more on that, to be fair, but it's okay. No. I'm normally pretty good at those middle pocket pots, but I got a bit out there where he was giving me some coaching specific to me. Don't think it was worth including because it's specific advice to me, and I also, don't really want to show it. So we carry on. And getting just a little bit too much. Blue, the angle on the blue is a bit too much now to be comfortable. So the green is probably the shot. I think I've just got a reasonable angle on the green to stun down for a red close to the blue. Yeah, happy with that one.
Very good. See, the thing is, there's a reason you hit the table there.
Yeah.
Because ordinarily you would have been higher. And
Yeah. So what he told me was I was not flat enough. My key wasn't flat enough, and because of that, my knuckle hit the edge of the table.
Position where you start. So literally in this position here, you're just trying to swing the elbow. Try and keep the rest as straight as you can. Good shot, by the way. 4.
That was a bad miss.
Does that feel weird being lower down? Is it?
It does. I feel like I'm hitting the table, so I need to stop dropping the cue there, as you say.
Yeah. Probably. You can move it.
I'm a bit low on this blue, so I think the pink is probably the shot here. I think I'm pretty straight. Maybe I can screw back the side. I don't know what I'm trying here. Oh yeah, maybe I'm just screwing back for a red into the corner. Those 3 reds above the pink, they look so close together on this camera angle. I screwed back a little bit far. I think I was playing for the red, the second below the blue. I'm a bit too far. I actually could force the angle.
Very good shot. There's nothing easy there, so that was good to.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with myself taking the time to think that over, but all came.
I struggle with these as well, like knowing what the right angle is to come off the cushion where I want it to, because I want to hit it up here and come up here, but I don't know where I should be hitting the white to.
Oh, funnily enough, this is a sort of a shot I was going to do with you later.
Okay.
To kind of get you away from just doing routines, because I've got thousands of routines we can do that, but sometimes little shots that you can practice, actually, as far as cueing is concerned, and honestly, the one I was going to set up for today is not too dissimilar to that. If it was me, I'd be playing that with a touch of right hand side, top and right, because then your cue ball's going to hit here, but then it spins to here, and that's what brings it into the
Okay, so you think I should play it off the cushion?
I'd be playing that off 2 cushions. Yeah.
I think I would probably be trying to play it off 1 cushion, and that's probably where I'm good.
You'd have to really hit that, mate. If you had a lot more angle, you absolutely could.
Yeah, and I think it's that one through with knowing when I've got enough angle and when I haven't.
And
I haven't hit that hard.
if only you'd hit it a bit harder, your line is absolutely perfect. Had you have landed here,
I would have had a choice.
you've got a choice of 4. If you just play that with topspin, the white just wants to sort of stay down here.
Right.
If you get it spinning, as soon as it hits the cushion, it wants to sort of do that and keep coming away. Lovely bit of cueing. 13. Sorry, 14.
Disappointing. Normally pretty good at those shots.
Okay, 14.
It's a whole different experience when somebody's watching you.
Let's move that away slightly.
Yeah, I don't know why he moved that red. I guess maybe it got. I didn't notice actually. Maybe it got moved during a shot, and he's spread it out a bit. But 14. Probably beat that when I get to the colours, maybe, but that's about it.
I think past the line is what they're all asking.
Just. I didn't want to get so close to the pocket.
I think I'm just high enough on this. Yeah, you can see I'm cueing on the side of the cushion, on the knuckle of the jaw there, so I'm just high enough on it. Could have done with some right hand side on that though.
To be honest, mate, you've done the main thing, which is you haven't landed on a cushion, at least by keeping the cue ball out. I know what you mean. Yeah, you want it to be a bit further down, but that's not a bad outcome.
I think one of the things I have, one of the problems I have is I tend to play my positional shots as if I want to land straight on the next ball. But actually that's not what I want to do, obviously. I want to land with an angle. And that was actually not a terrible angle to have on that red. It was a bit more angle than I needed, but it wasn't a terrible angle.
I was looking right down the line of the pot there. You did nothing wrong other than to put. So yeah, that's it. You're just taking a step back. Still 43 on there, mate. Plenty of points available.
Well, just a couple of shots here before we get to a colours clearance, and see in a future video that colours clearance is also again, something I've been focusing on. It was the sort of foundation of this channel, and it's something that I've sort of let lapse recently, so that would be probably the next practice video, a video that's focused on practice. Can I get to the yellow here? Red. Sorry, not yellow. Can I get to the blue from this red with an angle to get to the yellow? Probably not. I'm probably going to end up being too high on the blue, so maybe the brown. Yeah, I thought I could hold for the blue, and I think I...
Oh, decelerated on that one as well.
Yeah. So, 27 available, mate. 6
So, yeah,
shots.
colours clearance, here we go.
However you choose to do it. So, 14 was your high. If you pop the blue, pink and black at the end, you can beat it.
I haven't got colours clearance in quite a while
Ah.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying to him. I haven't done a colours clearance successfully for quite a while. Or I hadn't at this point anyway. Spoiler alert.
That's absolutely perfect, mate. Very good. Basically, you want to do the same shot on the green.
Yeah, I prefer to be a bit straighter on the green than with this little bit. A little square with it.
Overcut it by a long way.
Too thin. Okay. No problem. 22 on.
Disappointing. I'm not quite sure what angle I've got here. Well, I'm at the bottom of the cue ball, so I'm guessing I'm going to try and screw over for the blue. Yeah, just not enough on that. That was the right. I think it was the right shot, but could have done with a bit more reverse side and a bit more screw, I guess. So this one gonna have to. Now this is not something I need to practice. Is when I don't quite get. I'm slightly too high on the blue. I need to practice coming off the bottom cushion and landing on the pink.
That is a lovely shot. Very good. Not a lot else you could do there.
Now I say I need to practice it. Obviously I did it pretty well then, but I often struggle with it. I mean, I'm a bit lower on this pink than is ideal. I may end up relieving myself, if I do pot it, in leaving myself with a difficult black.
That is also a good shot.
Again, just concentrating on the pink and not worrying about what I was going to do with the black.
That kind of thing. I mean, unless you played that with a lot of right-hand side and then played it at twice the pace, well, that gives you 2 chances that you're going to miss it as well. I think keep it simple. There's no danger of an in-off, mate, so you can put...
Okay, can I get this black in?
Yeah.
I have at least got a new high break of 15. Can I put this black in? No, absolutely nowhere near. Absolutely nowhere near. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. So if you like this video so far, please give it a thumbs up by clicking the thumbs up button below the video. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing because it is the best way of keeping up with my snooker, hopefully improvement journey. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button again below or subscribing from my channel page at any time. Now let's get on with the rest of this video. So this one was filmed not long after that coaching session actually, so maybe the weekend after, something like that. So fairly straight immediately. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show it all because I actually mess up the rules. I hadn't at this point decided on the rules that I was going to use, so I wasn't necessarily always having ball in hand after a miss, and I wasn't necessarily always putting reds in the pocket after I missed. So I'm not going to show the whole thing because the number of misses doesn't really count. But what does count is this early break. also cut the replacing of balls and all that kind of stuff out to speed things up a little bit, which I'll do on the ones I'm going to show in the rest of the video. Bad miss, but yeah, break of 35 in that session, and I did go on to make several misses, but that's because I wasn't putting the balls back after misses and I wasn't playing ball in hand, so I'm not going to count that in terms of the number of misses. So let's take a look at the next one. Okay, we go on to the next one then, and this one was filmed much later on, so this was filmed actually quite recently, on the 10th of April, so after I'd been practicing a little bit more, after coming back from my hiatus. Obviously, I've started to get into it at this point. I feel like I'm cueing much better at the moment. Pockets are relatively generous on this table, has to be said. Especially the middles. Compared to the table I normally play on anyway. Maybe haven't put that pink back. They're very good on its spot very well. Could be costly. Yeah, thump on the table, just lost the cue ball a little bit there and left this difficult red above the black. Or a tricky, also difficult red into the middle pocket. Going for the one above the black. It was close, but no cigar. So, but still, that is my highest break at this point so far, and it was a pretty good one for misses as well. This was the end of that particular attempt. I'd missed the final red, but obviously started on a colours clearance to finish off, and this was actually I can't remember, it was one of my first colours clearances in a while, because I had been practicing colours clearance separately as well, but this was at least a colours clearance, and a pretty good one as well. I'd got the rest out thinking I couldn't reach, but I did stretch to it, but left myself close to cushion, but I could just easily run through for the pink. Left myself a nice angle to stun down for the black. Maybe got too much on it, but these sort of horizontal blacks, as I call them, would be bread and butter. And there we go. Okay, let's look at this last attempt then. And this was filmed just a couple of weeks ago on the 14th of April, during which I was doing a fair bit of practice, and this is what happened. So let's take a look. I tend to start now by clearing that red above the black. That just gives me more of a gap to get from the black to reds higher up, and then I've got the red below the black in case I run out of position and need to take a red below the black. That tends to be my approach these days. Ooh, that just about dropped in, but it's gone in. Trying to leave myself as easy a shot as possible each time. So there's a shot I've been practicing a little bit, coming on and off the cushion off the black. get on the reds. There's still plenty of reds, so I don't have to be too precise with my positioning. But as I said, one of the good things about doing this practice where I play through the entire lineup even after missing is I get to practice playing position when there's only 2 or 3 reds left. So there's the high break equalled. I won't say that's not my highest break ever in a lineup. When I was doing my lineup benchmarking, I think I got over 40 before. I'm not sure. Pretty happy with that one. Had to put it pretty hard. So the black will give us a half century. And it goes in. Left this black. Thankful I left this red below the black. Yeah, happy with that one. So black will give us 60. I've just let the cue ball run a bit though, too close to the cushion. But play that lovely, and I'm back pretty much in prime position. Pretty straight on this black, so I'm going to try and force it around the angles. And in doing so, I miss it. And is it going to go in the top corner? It's not going to go in the top corner, but I would have had a shot on another red. I honestly thought there was a century on there. I wasn't keeping score at the time, wasn't sure exactly what my score was. Thought there was a century there, and I'm just going to show you the last shot on the blacks to show you how many misses there were. So 5 misses, so I think that's basically my best attempt. I haven't actually played snooker since this because I've been on holiday. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's gone. So yeah, that's my lineup practice, and I'm going to keep doing that as a warm-up and keep a score. I may not film it every time, but I keep a score on my spreadsheet, and I'm going to track it over the year and see, see actual, hopefully, real improvement. Because feeling you're improving or feeling you're not improving is not necessarily a good way of judging whether you're actually improving. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to do another one of these videos, very similar, coming up on the colours clearance. So join me for that in a couple of weeks. And I've also got a video coming up where I show you one of my matches from way back in at the end of last year when I was struggling, to sort of show you basically what I was kind of struggling with, really. That'll be coming up sometime this week, I hope. Obviously, the World Championships is on, so I know there's a lot of snooker on at the moment, but hopefully that will help this channel get some views. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.